Welcome to the Chronicles of Yarnia.
Podcast number 32?
Yes.
We didn't check, but
we're pretty sure it's 32. The podcast from Montclair's local yarn store. And I'm Kathleen.
Haley.
I'm Jen. And remember to like and subscribe to us. I always do that. Subscribe to us down below.
Let's see, things to remember. In addition to liking and subscribing, you can follow us on Instagram, which Kathleen has done a good job reviving this week, and hopefully I'll get on that bandwagon shortly. Facebook, we're Yarnia LLC on Facebook. Everywhere else, we're Shop Yarnia. So as well on Ravelry, Shop Yarnia, and we have a lot of good conversation going on. Not super frequent, but the more you chat, the more we'll chat back to you on Ravelry. And one more. Oh, we are on Snapchat, but I haven't been in the store. I usually snap when I'm in the store, and since we've been closed to the public since March, end of March, our Snapchat has been pretty non-existent. That's okay. It'll come back. Everything will be back to normal someday. And until then, we're going to keep going.
And we are coming to you again from our backyard because
Live from New York, Saturday night.
It is a gorgeous, gorgeous day. It's about 78 degrees.
There's like no humidity for today and yesterday. It's really weird.
Yeah,
it's like strange.
It's lovely. It's like being in San Diego. So yeah, we're enjoying it, and we thought this would be a nice place to podcast, except for the landscapers.
Hopefully you can't hear. They're far in the distance.
They are far in the distance.
Just pretend they're in your backyard.
There's a little bit of leaf blowing there. All right, so we're gonna start off with around town as we usually do, and I made some notes. So one of the big things around town for us, for me, and for you too, you've been helping a lot, is the new store,
which will soon be part of your lives as well.
That's right. That's right. I'm sure we definitely should be doing our next episode from there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, and I think I'm going to cover that more in whips. So I'm not going to talk too much about it.
That's everyone's most major whip at the moment.
On the Yarnia team.
Yes.
And basically, at the time this podcast comes out, it'll be those few days where we're not open at either location because we want to, be set up when people come to see us in the new location and really be ready for visitors, for shoppers. And so we're giving ourselves a solid week to make the change. So we're really excited.
We're still accepting orders online. They just won't be sent out or be able to be picked up until we're open on the 27th.
Right, Monday the 27th. And yeah, actually, if there are things that you're interested in, shoot us an email, hello@shopyarnia.com, call the store phone. I'm sure I'll still have it here at my house. And
it's portable.
Very portable. If we know where something is, and you need it urgently, we'll do our best to get it to you. But otherwise, we're planning on the 27th for most non-urgent requests.
Yeah, you know how packing is. Everything is all
in a box somewhere, in a box, in a bag.
Packed up and.
But we have a good plan. Amanda's
very
husband
exciting.
is moving.
Shelves are being built as we speak. Possibly, maybe.
Probably in a couple hours again, or I think the shelves are mostly built.
Seeing some of them.
And Amanda's husband's unbolted the ones in the current store from the walls, and they're the old store space definitely looks very much like people are getting ready to get out of there. So
de-shelving and/or disheveled.
Yes.
I thought about that like a half hour ago. I was like, I'm going to use it.
Good. And then Amanda is going to be shelving all the yarn as her husband moves it in. Jean and I are going back to do a little bit more painting and shelf building to make some lock storage on the ground floor tonight. So we're getting there. A lot of stuff done. And actually, now that I said I was going to talk about it later, what I probably will do is do a little bit of video when I go tonight, just to kind of give a sneak peek of where things are right now. And then when it's all bright and shiny, you can see the difference. Right? So there.
It'll be amazing.
Yeah, we're very excited, if you couldn't guess. The next thing you want to talk about around town was having to do with composting, right?
Yeah, so I just saw, I'll mention like an event that occurred first. So there was another march. This one was honoring specifically Black women and trans women, and keeping the momentum going for the Black Lives Matter movement. And I was not able to go to this one, but a bunch of my friends went, and it looked like a good crowd. I read some of the on the Students for Justice NJ account, Instagram, and I'm pretty sure they have a Facebook. I'm not on Facebook anymore, but I read some quotes from the speeches, and it sounded like a pretty good event. So if you were able to attend, I hope you had a good time and enjoyed the march.
Good. And yeah, so you want to talk about the march, and then also, and this isn't around our town, though we do it here in our house, but the whole composting thing.
Yes, so going back to composting, the point, I saw this morning, maybe yesterday, that Vermont passed a law that in effect makes composting mandatory in the state, which the article said that 72% of people in the state like say they already compost, but the law just makes it like they prohibit putting organic waste in your trash, and like composting, which we do, which I recommend, and you can get one of the containers from the town. I'm not sure, like I don't have details on that, but I've heard that in the past. Obviously everything's up in the air right now, but I don't think they're that expensive, and if you don't even have a container or anything outside, like even one of the stationary ones, like there's moving ones and stationary ones, you could just have a tarp or a bucket in your backyard and mix it up every day, and it's low waste, and it doesn't put as much methane into the atmosphere, because when like food waste decomposes, it releases a lot of methane, so it's not going to the landfill. And
is it just when it's in the landfill that it becomes like, I mean, it doesn't produce methane when it's in compost?
I mean, it's just like, I'm not quite sure on the science of that, but I think when you make soil from compost instead of just having it decompose, it like you're mixing it in with other things. It probably it might release some methane. I'm not sure, but it like the nutrients go back into the soil instead of everything getting released. Like because like it's different when like it ends up with a product instead of just rotting away. You know.
It's a little breezy here. We got things moving around on our porch.
That's your weekly PSA to start composting. Try it out. See, and in Montreal, it's like a very, like the whole city has a program where like everyone has their recycle bin and trash can, like that you put out on the yard, but everyone also has like a tiny mini trash can size for compost. So they pick up compost every day. It looked like every day. There were always cans outside on the sidewalks. Wow, interesting. So they have like a citywide program. So contact the representatives for that, local government. So yeah.
Yep. And like you're saying, you know, when the organic material goes into the trash, that's when trash smells, right? If you don't do that, like, it doesn't. If you don't have like what else would smell, you know? And it also makes organic waste in trash makes it a lot heavier. It like so. In that way, it also, taking it out of your trash makes the trash a little less, like, slightly less dense, I'm sure, right?
What's the word? Harmful to the environment, because it takes less gas to move. Like, if it weighs less, the truck can carry more.
Makes sense. All those things, all those little things add up. Small actions can have big impacts, but a lot of people do them.
So research some compost, see what you can do.
Yeah, and I think it used to be a thing where people in cities didn't think that they could do it, but more and more places are having programs. Yeah, I mean, so if like, Montreal can do it, right?
Yeah, you can like.
They're about as urban as you can get.
No matter which like size apartment you have, apartments can still like do composting. Like just have a little container. We do it every night. We have like our Rachel Ray bowl of scraps. Like, just like so you don't have to like constantly take out your compost bin. Yeah. Research, think it, have it on your noggin.
The other thing we're doing right now that's not craft related is working on some vacation plans, because we've been working hard on studying at home and like moving the store and all that stuff.
Stress of the past 5 months.
So we've got some things in the works, and hopefully we'll have a nice week in August that's a break somewhere. We're working on it. It'll happen one way or the other. I hope plan A works out, but we do have a plan B, so we'll see. And a plan C. We will see. All right, so that is
Around
town from us. All right.
Anyway, I am back in New Jersey today, and I'm coming to you from my porch because my children are currently inside being annoying. So this is the first week we're home with no school. Their camps are all canceled, which is a good thing because then I didn't have to make a decision about sending them to camp or not. But yeah, we had to revamp our screen time rules like 3 times in the last 24 hours in order to make sure that everybody understood what they were and had buy-in and would stop asking me for Pokemon or watching Sonic the Hedgehog movie for the 150th time. I'm going a little stir crazy. Can you tell? So, I apologize for any traffic noise. Street's that away, and it's a relatively busy street. So I figured I would frame it with the pretty hydrangeas in the background that you can see, because this is really what's going on around town for me right now. It's this, but it's also the fact that Yarnia is moving from Valley Road to 127 Watchung Avenue, which is in Watchung Plaza. So we've been doing a lot of work to get the space ready. I just did some painting of some of the molding, and I think tomorrow I'm filming this on like last week. When you're watching this, I'm filming this last week. I'm gonna go see if I can do some of the exterior painting. So we have a pretty orange door. So hopefully I don't screw it up. But if I do, don't mention it. I would do it today, but it's a little cloudy and maybe might rain, and that makes me a little nervous. So we'll see. In the meantime, that's really what's going on around town. We'll get more to it with what's new in store, because what's new in store is going to be the store. Oh. But we're not there yet. So we're actually going to be closed from July 20th to July 25th, so we can physically move things back and forth. And when I say we, I mean Amanda's husband. Yay! Thanks, Jeff. So we're actually gonna have to physically move like all of our stuff over and get it all nice and pretty and ready for you guys. So we will be taking, like, if you want to order from us, totally order from us on the website. We might not be able to fulfill those orders until after the 25th. Or it might take us a little bit longer to fulfill. We might be able to fulfill them beforehand if we can easily put our hands on the materials that you're looking for. So that's just kind of a logistic question. But if it's not the 20th yet, get your yarn fix in like now. Order now, ship it out to you, or do curbside to you. And then once the new location is all set and we're all moved, we will be offering curbside as well. And we'll have kind of some additional new regulations and procedures about how we're going to be operating the store from then. So if you want first look, absolutely subscribe to our newsletter, because we've been sending out some sneak peek pictures, things like that of the space. I think you guys are really going to like it. It's so much bigger. I'm so excited. It's like there's room. It's so exciting. Yeah. So what else is going on around town? Yeah, that's all I got. I feel like that's big enough. Don't you think that's big enough? I think that's big enough.
Let's see. Around town, I actually don't have a whole lot for around town this time. I feel like sort of exhausted with figuring out what's going on around town, because honestly, we're just staying home. We stay home quite a bit anyway. We stay home quite a bit anyway, just because it's hard to move 8 people around from one place to another. But usually the kids have all activities going, certainly in the summertime. They've got their summer camps that they're interested in. You know, every week is something different, or a 2-week camp or something like that. Definitely gets them out and active and that type of thing. But not this year, everything's canceled. So they're at home. This week we started learning about insects. So I do like little units with the kids in the morning. It gives them something to do and some structure to their day, and actually we end up doing some writing about whatever topic we're learning about, and some outside stuff with whatever topic we're learning about. So it keeps them a little bit in the loop for when school starts again. Hopefully we won't be quite far behind. And I keep trying to get them involved with some Zoom classes. Like right now, Eric is working on his French class, which he takes through FIAF once a week. FIAF is a local French institute, Alliance Francaise, in Montclair. They also have, of course, a big department in Manhattan, but we're lucky enough to have an outpost in Montclair, which is fantastic. My kids have taken classes in person there before, and they have online instruction now for kids and adults this summer, which is, my 20-year-old is also taking classes. She thinks it's super fun. The 8-year-old and the 6-year-old think it's less fun, but I think it's extremely good for them. I was a French major in college, so it is good for you if you have time. And what 6-year-old doesn't have a little extra time? Yeah, so they're, learning their colors, learning how to count, that type of thing. And more just like getting the sound of the language in their head. So when, they get older and they're thinking about that kind of thing more, they've got some, memory of it. And let's see what else. We've done a few Outschool classes, outschool.com, right? That has, you can sign up for little subject matter classes by grade. They have a little bit more, I feel like, for the younger grades than they have for the older grades. And Abby has been taking classes, which she really enjoys, with Montclair Art Museum. They have 2-week camp by Zoom, but now she's in a painting class, which she loves being able to paint for an hour and 45 minutes every day. I have to say it is much easier as a parent to be able to drop my kid off at camp in the morning and they do their thing and I pick them up and the schedule is the same every day. It's really challenging. We've missed quite a few classes, at least 3 French classes and 2 Outschool classes. I don't think she's missed an art class. That's a priority, apparently. Just because, instead of being like, oh, I'm going to drop you off at 9, I'm going to pick you up at 4, or whatever, you have this scheduled at 11 o'clock today, and tomorrow you have this at 1 o'clock, and then you have this at 3 p.m. on Wednesdays, and this at 4 p.m. on Thursdays, and it's like, I work an insurance job during the day and it's just like mentally overwhelming to have my own schedule of like these are the meetings that I have and then oh yeah, my kids, I've got to sign them into Zoom before I get on this call or whatever. It's a pain. But it is a pain. And I look around and see what's going on with schools and how there are school systems that are, in California that are definitely going to be still virtual next fall. I think we've got to come up with a better solution than mom supervising class from 8 to noon and then working noon to 8 at night, because that's just not gonna be good for my mental state all fall, let's just say, right? Nor is it particularly good for a kid to be on Zoom. I don't think, the older girls, like I said, totally fine. Older kids, middle school, great. can do Zoom classes, I think, pretty effectively. But if I'm going to put a first grader in front of Zoom for 4 hours a day, that doesn't work. So we got to think of something else that's going to work better. Especially group Zoom classes for 4 hours a day. We got to think of something better. Anyway, I'm sure I'm not the only person saying that. I'm sure there's a lot of parents and teachers, because it's like it's impossible for us on this side, and it's sort of crazy for the teachers on the other side. It's like, this system is not working. It's like, yay. Glad everybody seems to have gotten through the spring, but now we have some months to plan. Let's do it better next time.
Hello again. Welcome back. Here we are.
Kathleen and Haley in our backyard, and we're here to talk about finished objects. And actually, Anna is here and wants to come and
She
sit.
wants to star.
Do you want to be on TV again, Anna? Come here.
She wants to be famous.
Oh my gosh, she's very heavy.
She's wiggling. What are you
She's
doing?
There we go.
Camera
Here's
star.
Anna. All right, but Haley is going to tell you about the beautiful top that she's wearing. Yay! Which has been a whip for a couple of episodes.
We're making up a lot of ground from last episode.
You are. Well,
because we had absolutely nothing last time, and now we have things. So
yes, we do.
I'm feeling a little bit more crafty than I was for the past couple weeks, and I kind of ground out a couple projects. So this that we see on me, modeling right now, is it's based on the Primrose Crop top by TaylorLynnCrochet, which she has a. I found her video tutorial on it, which is really helpful because
on YouTube, right.
on YouTube, which the account, like, I saw someone's picture on Instagram, and then she said she used the pattern.
I was laughing because Anna was just licking my arm. Must have had a little Baba Ganoush there from lunch or something.
She's so cute. She's not very photogenic, but people say
she's
she's
cute.
So I started out. The picture has been put in the last podcast, but this is me. Maybe the picture will be here. Of like the inspiration of the pattern, because it was originally like her pattern is stripes, but I based the major construction off of it, and I just did it in solid pattern, and it's all half double crochet, but
so pretty.
Like the panels in the front, you just do like the height, and then I ended up not having them be as long as I wanted it to be. Like, it was actually more of a crop top, but I wanted it to be more of a tank top. So hopefully you can see. I should probably stand up.
Yeah.
And so I just joined these together with a slip stitch or like single crochet in the back, and I connected hers
all the way around. Yeah.
I just made it like
started at one side.
Yeah, I started one side and then came back around and like
just joined it over there.
Slip stitch it on one side, and then like hers was just two pieces, and you tie it together with like a lace type of like bodice idea, and then she had a cute idea of like braiding the straps, so then you could just cut them off if they're not big enough or they're not the right size. And but the way I do my straps on most of all my tank tops is I chain to I have like a stitch, like usually I'll start in one, and my goal is to have as little ends as possible, but more for structure purposes, not for like laziness, even though I am very lazy. But I like work in my ends as much as possible, like when I'm working on something. So I start on one end, chain, like stitch it into the back, and then slip stitch back the way, and then slip stitch all along the edge, so I don't have to.
And
like
also
it's
that's
basically
a way
like
to
one
smooth out that edge too, and give it a little bit more structure.
The only trick is you have to make them really, really loose, because you don't want it to.
You don't want it to
haven't blocked this top yet.
I'm gonna
put her down.
There you go, Anna. She's getting a little squirmy.
She had her star moment. 15 minutes of pain. Hi. And so yeah, I really only have like one connection point, and then I just slip stitch up all the way around, and I do the other strap the same way, come back, and I did the whole top edge slip stitch, just to, like finish it off.
Nice, yeah, it looks great. It does.
But yeah, you don't want to make the slip stitches too tight, because then it
will
messes
pull in.
With the,
you don't want to.
And then
you added the border, right?
A picot border edge.
Well, also you added the horizontal portion. Which
yeah, so I like picked up stitches along the bottom edge just so that it would be like, I didn't do, like, it's not exactly the same as picking up stitches and knitting, which I learned from watching Jen's tutorial on one of the end of the podcast episodes. But I did, like, keep that same kind of philosophy of, like,
not doing one-to-one.
Not doing one-to-one, just skipping a couple holes. Yeah, just so it lays a little flat.
Lays flat.
So I haven't blocked this yet, but I just did rows until, and I have a tiny bit left, maybe like 25 grams left. So
that's
and this
a quarter
is,
of a skein.
This is then probably not that much, but maybe more than 10, more than 15. This is the Ancient Arts
Edgemont and Nishwain.
Edgemont and Nishwain.
Or Nishwain and Edgemont.
Nishwain and Edgemont from our Kickstarter 3 years ago.
3 years ago, yep, when we first opened.
So this is my first tank top, and then I have another one. I have many, many projects this time. So here we are with another tank top, and I'm really, really happy with this one.
It's beautiful.
I started
really
it, I think, 2 summers ago.
Wow.
Like, very long time ago. Because
Doesn't feel like that long ago, but
I checked, like, when I was looking for the pictures, it was it had a 2018 on the end of it. So.
That would be it.
I based this off of, I was inspired by, well, first of all, it all started with the yarn. This
That's right,
is
you loved.
Ancient Arts.
Nope, Apple Tree.
Apple Tree, sorry. Taki gradient. Am I saying that wrong?
No, that sounds right.
And it's like a purple.
It's the luxe fingering, I think. Right?
Maybe.
We could look that up. We have a
places.
lot of fingering gradients from Apple Tree in the store.
It might be the plush.
Plush fingering, that's it. That's it. The luxe is the one with silk.
Yes. So this is, I think, the skein itself is 560 yards.
And you probably have quite a bit left, right?
I do, yeah. I did about half of it.
You could do another one.
Oh my goodness.
You could, especially because you paired it with knitted with single fingering, right?
Yeah,
for the top.
I don't
Crush and Blue.
Crush and Blue. Yeah. So
they're like my children. I know them all by name.
So this is inspired by a very small child's top that is
the
like
child swing tee, which
it's
will
like basically the same
Amanda the
thing,
link
but
to.
in like the pattern is for worsted, so it's only 6 rows. This is many more than 6 rows, as you can tell, and I really like that. It basically is like the construction of a shawl, like
it's a semicircle. It's
the
a
same.
half. Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. But I did get the idea for the scallop edge, I think, from the pattern, possibly, maybe not, but I'll give some credit there in case I did. And they had like a crisscross strap, which I did end up doing, but theirs were like connected by buttons, which I wanted thinner
works
straps,
for like a 5 or a 7-year-old, but not for you, not for a young adult.
This is like, I love this so much.
Maybe you'll go and put it on before we start our whips or something.
Okay, maybe
so
maybe I'll switch it for the next segment.
Mm-hmm.
But I blocked it.
Yes.
Did we say this at midnight? I don't know. But I did my first blocking ever with help. And
it wasn't hard, right?
It wasn't hard. I did it. It worked
People
very
are
well.
intimidated.
So
it's not. It's just
this
you're
drapes,
washing it. You're washing it in a certain way.
It drapes a lot nicer now, and I think it'll fit. So I did end up actually. Also, a finished object that you can look. I said like 3 podcasts ago that I would upload things to my Ravelry, and I finally did some.
You did.
So,
you did
like the things that I've done since quarantine started, I put up.
Yay!
So, those pictures are actually before I blocked this. So I'll take more and compare them.
All right.
So, I love this. I was thinking like to wear this to like a festival or something. Obviously, there's none of that
This year.
for the near future. But it's still a really nice, so basically it's like open back, and I'll show you when I switch, but it's really pretty.
It's fun. Very nice.
Flowy.
Very nice. All right, and I have a finished object this time too.
Yes.
It has not been blocked yet. I've been a little distracted working on the new store and stuff.
That's definitely a good excuse. It's not even an excuse, it's like a reason.
But this is the On the Porch blanket by 5410 Studios. And I wove in all my ends. I did not let myself get up from the sofa after I finished it without weaving in my ends, because that's one of those things. It is really squishy. So this is a yarn we're thinking about from King Cole. We actually talked about it during knit night a little bit last night, and I think we may go for it.
I think
I gotta show Jen and Amanda. I'm sure they'll like it too. So highly recommend this pattern. it was something that one of our customers at Yarnia found online, and she started, she made it or was in the process of making it. I did a little bit of help on her project, and I was like, that's a beautiful modern baby blanket. So I've recommended it to a bunch of people.
Yeah, I feel like
there's definitely a handful of people already doing it.
Made already.
And I do think I have a baby blanket I need to make soon, and I think I'm going to use this pattern again.
It seems really nice because it's so simple, but you can make it like different colors, colorblind.
Yeah, I
like
think it would
it's
be
a good base
it would be easy in
jumping
Tarja if you want to do that. I do think I may do that. I'll pick like a light pastel for the outside and for the garter ridges, and then do like cream in between. I think that would be so elegant modern baby blanket. So on the porch,
we're all about the trends and the aesthetics,
and it goes this
here.
way. Yeah, so really nice.
I would take this. I would wear it.
To be your blanket. So that is yay a whip for me this time, which it feels like it's been a while, but I'm not beating myself up too much.
A finished object, not a whip.
See, there you go, a finished object. Yes, that.
Yes.
All right, and Haley has a couple more. So one is related to the new store.
I did my clothes, my wearable garments, and now I have like objects type thing. So I made, this isn't necessarily a mascot, but it's a logo,
the Yarnia Y.
insignia slogan thing. So yes, I wanted to do this like for the store when it was in its current location, but I ended up making I think I had the idea around the time I made the patchwork dog, and that was emotional. Just patching together. I don't remember how many years it's been since I made that, but I have
it's been in the store from day one.
I have sworn off of doing like granny square patchwork. Anything.
We have to attach it later.
So,
yeah, not join as you go.
That's kind of, so anyway,
you wanted to make something for the new store.
Yeah, that put a lot of, I just did not want to make something else in that fashion. But I had this idea at that time, so this kind of got pushed off. But I made a Y. And
it's the Yarnia Y.
It's the Yarnia Y, and this yarn, which is conveniently a very good color
very
for the
close to
Yarnia
Yarnia
Y,
orange.
is my environmental science teacher gave it to me because she knits, so like in high school. So thank you, Miss Wasco.
Very nice. I love it. I can't wait. We got to find a nice spot for it somewhere in the store.
Yeah, I tried.
We'll
so basically, it's free form.
Yeah, no pattern for this. Haley's brain.
I did like one side, and I made the two halves identical, and then I made a 3-stitch wide
long strip. Yeah.
What? Yeah. Like
and
we just measured.
We kind of wrapped it
the
around
edge
to make sure she had enough length.
The general, like, so I didn't make it too short or too long by the time, and then I just slip stitched around both.
Around one edge and then the other.
Faces, I guess you could say. Vertices.
I love it.
So.
Tis the Yarnia Y. Yay. Very nice. I love it.
And it's stuffed with scraps, in case anyone was wondering.
Yes, of course. Of course it is.
Everything I do is stuffed with scraps.
Yes. Well,
That's
use up what you have, right? Less
vibe.
waste. Less waste. Yay.
So you can come see it in person once the store is open.
That's right. We'll have to find a place of honor for it, a nice little shelf somewhere. Yay. The next thing that Haley is going to do, she did a lot of this during knit night, and
I had this
I
had a brainstorm.
I kept having her show people. It's like, oh, she's done another one. Oh, she's done another one.
They're very small.
So again, no pattern, but from Haley's brain, and I think this is so creative and fun. And hopefully, oh, how cute you put it in that bag.
So
I love this.
This is, I use this for my scraps on the shelf, but it fits the size of these things. So I don't know how many of you know Harry Styles. He's a very, very good singer.
Was originally in One Direction, but has been on his own for a couple of years now.
Yes. Highly recommend his album, Fine Line.
It is really good.
And if you need any more encouragement, I have song-themed. These aren't on earrings yet, but they will be. So it's a present for my friend who also likes Harry Styles. And I just had this idea. I don't know where it came from. Because, well, actually, I do know where it came from. I was told that I am not good at giving gifts, so I'm working on it. And So this is here. Could you please display?
And actually,
I'll hold them up.
We'll take a nice picture.
Yeah, I'll
we'll
send
take
like
a
a
nice
picture arrangement. I hope that focused. I don't know if it did. Sorry. So
that's
that's the song "Cherry."
So basically,
like, these are all charms. Yeah.
Can I say just because?
Go.
So basically, Haley was inspired to do something for her friend that references a bunch of songs on this album.
From this album called Fine Line, String Fine Line. Now it's out.
So originally you were going to do 12, and then
there's 12 songs on the album, and I had like there's a lot of like easy like
imagery
crochetable imagery with a lot of the songs. So like obviously if a song is named Cherry, I can just make a cherry, you know. And there's another song
cute.
called Watermelon Sugar, which I made a watermelon. So like it was a easy like starting point. So this is watermelon. I made 2 because I didn't know if I wanted a flat watermelon or not, because this one didn't really look like a slice, but
I love it.
We'll
it's so
see.
fun.
And then there's a song called Sunflower, Volume 6. That's a sunflower. And then there's a song called Adore You, and the
video has a fish.
The video is all about a fish. So I made a fish. And then there's a song called Canyon Moon. So I made a moon, except it looks like an empanada.
I think it looks like a moon.
I want to make empanadas from this pattern. So watch out,
you
world.
should do the food thing we talked about. We'll see. That may be on the next episode.
So this one's my favorite. It's an empanada.
But it's supposed to be a moon.
And then I had those were the easy imagery ones, because
there were clear references.
It's on the table. I had no thinking I needed to do. So then one of the songs, like the album, is there a word for not self-titled, but the album title song is Fine Line, and the colors in the album art are blue and pink. So I just made
instead of just doing
a
little
making
chain of single crochet. It's is it a word? It's a fine line, very fine thread.
Just one strand of yarn. It's a fine line.
That would have been the easy way out for fine line.
I almost made a tassel, but
that wouldn't be fine enough.
So I've always wanted to do this type of swirl thing that people make coasters out of, so I finally did it.
And those are the album
and
colors
it's
from the album
70s, 60s inspired, so it goes with it. So
totally
these are going to be on earrings. There's 6 of them. So it makes
she can
3
mix
pairs,
and
mix and match, and I'm gonna make a pair for myself.
You're gonna make a set for yourself. I love it. I'm gonna take a nice picture of these. This has been, so
I'm really proud
I've had more fun with this project than you have almost.
No, I think the cherries, this was the first one I did, and they're so good.
They're so cute.
Literally the circles are just, I increased to 12 stitches, did 1 round across, and then started decreasing.
You should try to write it up. When you do yours, you can tell me what you're doing and I'll write it down.
How's
that? I think that's good.
Maybe, yeah.
We'll see. I think that would work.
I'll send them to Harry Styles and see if he responds. I'll keep you updated. He's like, yes, make me 1 million of them. You're rich. Thank you.
All right, so.
Oh, and you don't have any more finished objects, right?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I have this should probably go in the whip section, but now that I've talked about it, I'll just do it now. So.
Oh, right.
Before, previously, in other episodes, I've had not I haven't started them whips, but they're on the noggin, but I actually have it. So a really kind person, Judy, she dropped off when she was picking up yarn.
Yeah.
She dropped off some patterns. She said she was cleaning out her house for her quarantine project, and
she knew she was never going to do them.
She thought of me for these crochet patterns. So this is one I love so much. I love the patterns that she sent me, and this is one I think I'm very on the brain, planning what yarn I'm gonna make this in.
That could be crisp. That could be really fun with crisp, maybe. Yeah.
So it's just it looks horizontal. It's very 70s inspired. Horizontal. Every row is a different color. Little cardigan jacket. I'm very
it's really
excited.
cute.
I want to make one.
It'll be fun, definitely.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you for thinking of me.
Yeah. Very nice.
So that's us for finished objects.
That's finished objects and thinking
about to be whips.
What am I knitting? Well, I have a finished object. I have 2. One super tiny, and one is a gift. So first, the gift. I made a baby present for one of my co-workers who's having a baby in August. This is the Oatmeal Sweater by Sarah Cooke. TDD. Isn't it cute? This is the 3 to 6 month size. I just love this sweater. This is the 3rd time I've made this sweater. I'll show you another one after this. There's going to be some buttons that go here. Here, I'll show you up close. So there's this texture up at the top. It's a little raglan. You knit the top back and forth because you got this button band here. There's some buttons that go so you don't have to squish over a baby head. I like to tip the sweater in like a little contrasting color on the neckline and on the collar and on the bottom. And this color, this yarn is King Cole and the Smarty DK. So Smarty DK has these little tweedy speckles in it. It's a baby girl, we know, coming in August, late August. So the 3-month size is going to be just perfect for baby girl by the time December comes, right? So yeah, this is the Oatmeal Sweater. Totally recommend this pattern. Like I said, it's the 3rd time I've made it. I made it for another friend who had a baby 2 years ago? Must have been 2 years ago. Yeah, because Charlie's 2. And I have leftover yarn because I make it out of 2 colors. So I made one for Charlie. This is 2 years old. Charlie actually wore it quite a bit. That King Cole, look at this. Here, I'm going to show you up close. I am not careful with this yarn. This has been tossed in the wash with all of his other laundry. Washed just like if it was something we got at Target or Gap or something, like whatever, right? And look at that. There is 0 pilling on this. It looks pristine. And it is 100% acrylic, so like baby mess. Nothing stains it at all. This looks like pure white. Again, you can see I just love these combos. I use the Smarty DK in a different color here and the Cherish, which is solid DK, also by King Cole. They have complementary colors, right? Like they're not made per se to go together, but they do go together really well. And I think I love like picking out cute color combos. So this is Charlie's sweater. This is New Bebe Sweater. Similar style. This one I used the Smarty DK on almost the whole body and just tipped it in the Cherish. But I definitely have enough of the green. I could make a solid green sweater or do like I did on this one. This one I modified the pattern a little bit. It doesn't have this top I thought would be really cute, just to have the front and the back in the Smarty, and it also conserved the yarn because after I had already finished a gift like this for my friend, I didn't have a ton of that Smarty left over, but I had a lot of the blue. So what I actually did was some intarsia. I modified the pattern to include intarsia between the increases for the shoulders, right? So typical raglan, right? I'm doing some increases here and here. And so just after I did my increase, I switched the color and did that across the back and then switched the color again to do the sleeve caps here, right? And then intarsia across the front. And I went all the way to the button band, turned around. Yeah, so that worked out super well. I'm really happy with that modification for this. And you can see the inside. Intarsia's great. It seems like I haven't done it in a while, but I did a few patterns all in a row that had this, right? And it creates a single fabric. That's a great way to incorporate a block of color in your knitting. Yay, that's not stripes or something like that. So it lets you play with like a little, what do I want to say, like baseball shirt type pattern. I don't know, we've got the different color sleeves. But yeah, so Oatmeal Sweater by Sarah Cooke. And this was so cute and so fast. It took me like 2 days to do this one. And I had yarn left over, so why not? I'll make a little bonnet to go with it too. And let me see, what's the name? The Caris bonnet by Alison McCarney. So this one has a little lace detail here on the edge. See, it's a simple lace detail, and then I just love bonnets that have that spiral decrease in the back, like the top of a hat. I just think it's the cutest thing, and then some I-cord ties on the end. Right, bonnets are my favorite for babies because once babies can grab, they can pull hats straight off their head, and even if they're like wiggling in their car seat, the hats come off, but they can't pull a bonnet off. So I always put bonnets on my kids until they're like 1, maybe even 18 months, and then they get smart enough where they can untie them and it doesn't work anymore. But yeah, so little baby set bonnet. And obviously the pattern, well, not obviously, but the pattern doesn't have like 2 colors here. I just thought it would be, and that's one reason I chose this pattern, because it had a little lace detail that I could do in a solid color, in the solid green up at the front, and then solid, solid section on the back for the more tweedy smarty that just like lets that tweedy look shine. I love it. I think it turns out really cute. So hat and yay, ready for a little sweetie in August. Let's see, yay. So the next thing I have finished is extremely fast. I finished it in one afternoon, and it's an arm warmer by Shannon Dunbabin. Yeah, but this was made out of 1 skein of Fixation Splash. I didn't use a whole skein. I could have gotten 2 arm warmers out of that skein. But this was a free pattern. We put it in our newsletter last week. It's great. So the concept is, no, I don't need to warm up my arms in the middle of July, but this is super easy. You can slouch it down like that, like easy to wear. But if I'm going to the grocery store or the pediatrician or whatever, opening door handles, I can slide that down and use this to open the door. And it's like, in lieu of wearing disposable gloves or something like that, it's going to be protective. And the fixation is stretchy, so it keeps me, it's nice and snug and doesn't like go everywhere. And then you can peel it off and throw it in the wash when you get home. And like I said, a ball would make 2 of these, so you could always have one in the wash and one ready to go. And just definitely a reusable, but way to keep your germs, if you have any, off of, whatever you're touching, and protect yourself from whatever the customer before you left behind. That's the things we think about now. But I thought that was really smart, right? Like, yeah, and then I'm not using like tons of vinyl or whatever, latex gloves or, that type of thing, which just creates like a lot of trash. But yeah, especially for like occasional use. I mean, I wouldn't wear that if I was like going to work and, even at Yarnia or something like that, where I'm going to be interacting with folks all day long. But if I'm going on a quick errand to the bank or a shopping trip or picking up my Starbucks or something like that, like it's a good quick solution for those in and out type trips. Let's see. So those are my finished objects. Yay!
In the meantime, let's go to, now we're going to talk about some finished objects. I don't have any. I got nothing. I feel like this is the biggest stretch of non-finished objects I've had in a really long time. We had a bit of a hard time like family-wise, just in terms of finding time to finish things, because when we had to pack up all of our stuff from the Cape and come down here, which we actually made great time, which was rad. But then the day after we got back, my husband woke up and felt sick. Yikes. So he's been kind of dealing with himself self-isolating from us for a while we all await our results for COVID testing. But he's feeling much better, so I'm feeling much better about that. He actually feels fine now, so we both think it was probably just a cold or really bad allergies. He actually was doing some not landscaping, but like he was pulling some weeds and invasive grapevine down by the pond where we were in the Cape and fell in. So, I shouldn't laugh, but I'm gonna. So we think that maybe he just inhaled some pond water and didn't feel good. But we're still waiting on our test results. It's been a week. Hopefully we'll get them soon, in which case we can go out in public again. Yay. That would be nice. With masks. Wear your masks, folks. Wear your masks. Sorry, I keep scratching my bug bites because I'm like, the mosquitoes love me. They love me. So because I've been on 100% kin duty, I have had very little time to work on anything. Good times. Good times. So I'll be back for works in progress. And now I'm back for works in progress. I have several works in progress. I still have the mitered crochet squares. I did not bring them out because I forgot. So they look exactly the same as the last time I showed them on the podcast, which is to say I have not done any work on them yet. And that's because I didn't bring the whole big basket of stuff for the blanket up to the Cape, because I kind of was like, you know what, I'm already bringing enough stuff and who am I kidding? I'm not going to get to it. I think when we go up again a little bit later on in the summer, I will bring it because my cousin's spending time up on the Cape as well in Wellfleet, and which is right by where we stay. So, and she's learning to crochet. So it would be handy if we do see each other like from afar on the porch, which we did, that I could, help her out if she needs to. So I have that going on. I still have my Dame de Fer cardigan, which, oh my God, guys, it's so much stockinette. It's so pretty, but it's so much stockinette. And I don't know where my other ball of yarn is. I'll find it. I think it's probably in my other bag. But, I mean, it's really pretty, and I think it'll be really good, but I feel like this is kind of like my long-term project, You know how sometimes you have, like, a short-term project where you're like, I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to bang it out, and it'll be great. And then sometimes you have, like, the longer-term projects where you just kind of pick it up and put it down, and pick it up and put it down. I feel like this is my pick it up and put it down project. There are some projects, like, I was able to bang through the Soldotna really quickly. I mean, it's a short sleeve cropped sweater, so of course I could, and it was DK weight, so like sweet. But also I feel like because color work is very potato chippy, where you just want to keep going, right? You do the first motif and then you're like, oh, but I only have like 5 rows. Let me just finish to the second motif. And then by the time you're there, you're like, boom, I'm done. So, and I feel like stockinette, as relaxing as it is for me, which it's very relaxing. I do love a good stockinette project. I'm also easily distracted. And if I don't have something to keep me going, it becomes difficult. So, I don't know. There we go. I'm going to keep working on it because I really do. I like the pattern. I like the yarn. I'm working it in... I forgot what yarn I'm working it in. I forgot the name. Kathleen Damas. We had a trunk show with her. Maybe Amanda will throw it in. Maybe Amanda won't know what it is. Maybe I don't remember. I'll make sure that my Ravelry project is up to date. By the way, Ravelry, I have switched back to using the classic view because the new redesign I'm not super happy with. I found it very hard on my eyes, and I know it's triggered migraines and in a couple of cases seizures, but you can toggle back to using the old version, and I highly recommend, even if it doesn't bug you, if you don't like the fact that it's causing seizures and migraines and others, toggle back to using the old version, because that also sends a bit of a message to the folks in charge at Ravelry that the old version was probably a little bit easier on their eyes, and maybe we should switch back for a while. That would be great. That'd be awesome. I'd love that. So the other thing that I am working on is the summer sorrel. Like an idiot, I forgot my swatch up at the Cape. I also forgot my, where's my needle? There it is. I also forgot my pattern up at the Cape, but thankfully, I mean, I had bought it. I just re-downloaded it. I haven't had a chance to reprint it out yet because I'm also not sure if our printer has ink. So what I did in the meantime was kind of like a trick that I do a lot, and one that I recommend in a lot of our sweater classes, where either in a notebook with pen and paper or on your phone in your notes app, what you can do is you can kind of rewrite the pattern in the size that you're working in a way that makes sense to you. And one of the things that this is really good for is, you know how in cooking they always say read the pattern first, or read the recipe first. So you read the recipe all the way through, and then you gather your materials, and then you start. That's also true in knitting patterns and crochet patterns. Read the pattern all the way through first, then start. Pick up your needles. So like the first step in working any pattern should always be read the pattern. The second or third or fourth step should be pick up your needles. So what I like to do, and what I often recommend for sweater classes or project classes that I teach, is when you're reading the pattern all the way through, read the pattern all the way through, highlight, underline, circle the size that you're making. And if you're not sure what size you're making, measure yourself. Don't guess. Measure yourself. Measure your actual body. Write down your measurements. And then check the pattern to see how much ease they recommend. So the Summer Sorrel recommends, I think it was like between 2 to 6 inches of ease. Maybe it was 4 to 6 inches of ease. I don't have it up right now, so I can't remember. I'm going with 4 inches of ease. So I measured myself. I wrote that down. And then I added 4 inches. So I am making the 49-inch size for the bust. And the one thing I'll say about, excuse me, about this pattern and some other sweater patterns is the formatting of sizes. When you have a lot of sizes and you're going from smaller to larger, and you might have like 10 or 12 different sizes, it really helps if they have multiple sets of parentheses or multiple sets of like parentheses and brackets. So you have like 3 numbers outside the parentheses, 3 numbers inside the parentheses, 3 numbers inside curly brackets, 3 numbers inside straight brackets. Because then as you read the rest of the pattern, you can say, well, I'm the first set of curly brackets. And then you can find them. This pattern and many other patterns do not have that. So they have 1 number outside the parentheses and then like another 10 inside the parentheses. So this was the thing where with the printout one, I actually went through and I circled my number on all of them because it was very difficult to just kind of glance at and read. So that's a good step to do as you're reading through. You circle the number or highlight the number for your specific size, and that way you don't get confused. So I did that on the paper pattern, and then what I also like to do is translate it into a notebook and rewrite it, or translate it into my phone and rewrite it. And in this case, because my paper pattern was 6 hours away on Cape Cod, I opened up the digital version and I grabbed my phone and I sat there and typed in which size I was. So if I pull up my phone and I pull up the little file that I started that says Summer Sorrel. So the first thing I wrote down is I wrote down the size that I'm making, because otherwise I will not remember. I will put it down and 6 months later come back and be like, what? And then I wrote down the gauge that I got. Because I left my gauge swatch up at the Cape, I actually had to re-swatch. I couldn't remember what I had done. And actually, I don't think I had measured it when it was up at the Cape. I will find it up there when we go back in August. So I re-swatched and I remeasured, and this swatch I ripped out. Normally I don't rip them out. I kind of just save them. So I wrote down and I got gauge on size 4s, not on size 5s, because I'm a loosenetta. And then I wrote down, I don't know, you can't necessarily see, but there's my information. So I wrote down I-cord cast on 160. And then I kind of used my own shorthand for things that I knew, like this pattern has German short rows. I love German short rows. And with short row instructions, sometimes it gets tedious because if either every line has to be written out or it's like, do this 5 more times for a total of 10 short rows, and you're like, wait, what? Makes more sense as you do it. But so I basically wrote out the instructions for the yoke except for the charting. I didn't write the charts out. I have in the past, especially for color work, which really helps. Apparently there's an ice cream truck going by playing a classical song. But I don't know if you can hear that. I think that's funny. So I've started on my I-cord cast on. I had screwed it up because I wasn't paying attention. So I had to rip it out and restart. So I have a little bit left. There we go. I don't know if you can see. I ended up deciding to go with the Mad Tosh in the grays and the purples and the blues, which I really like. I'm going to use that peachy pink La Bien-Aimée yarn for something similar to, but I don't think that this is necessarily the right pattern because this is reverse stockinette and I love reverse stockinette, but it drapes differently than regular stockinette. So I think I want to do something regular stockinette with a La Bien-Aimée. I just don't know what yet. I don't know what yet. But I really like the I-cord cast on that I'm using for Summer Sorrel. I think it's pretty straightforward. She has a great tutorial that she links to in her pattern. And I think it'll be a nice edge. It's not the first time I've done an I-cord bind on, cast on. But honestly for this, I assumed it was going to be cast on normally and then pick up and do an I-cord bind off. But so I'm pretty pleased with how this is looking so far. So I'm gonna see if I can get cranking on this for a bit longer. I just realized I rambled on really long about my process for sweater patterns. So I hope that was helpful to you guys. Do I have anything else work in progress? I don't know. Oh, I'm still working on my needlepoint. I'm almost done. I ran out of one color though. I was a little bummed. I have an inch worth to go. So I gotta go see if I have any of that particular color in my DMC tapestry wool stash, which is a very small stash. If not, I will have to get some. So I might see if I run out of any other color. I'm gonna attribute that to tension rather than the kit because I was so close to the end, so close that maybe my tension was just a little bit off. Whatever, it's no big. Yeah.
Works in progress. So I have been working on several things. First, I'm going to show you my 2 Helen Stewart works in progress because, as we discussed last week, I'm on a Helen Stewart kick. First is my sock, which is actually a half-finished object this week. Yay! So I finished sock number 1 of the Cirrus Socks from the Handmade Sock Society number 3 this year. I'm 1 sock behind, but that's okay. But I finished my first one. So this sock starts out with a 2x2 ribbing and has this cool textured pattern, which is really, it's nice. It's got this little eyelets and some interesting stitch work. And then it just goes into a plain stockinette foot. Like I said last week, it's supposed to have a slip stitch heel, which I failed to do. Because I didn't read the pattern. I just was like, yay, we're making a heel. And I made a heel. And didn't pay attention to, oh, you're supposed to slip the stitches. But yeah, so then just made a plain stockinette foot. You can really see this yarn color there. This is the Blue Hosta in Tosh Sock. This is a really, I like the way this color shows off the lace. And then my normal toe. But yay, so I finished one sock. I finished this on some conference calls, and then I finished it all on conference calls. But then, man, I haven't done a stockinette foot in a long time, and it just zoomed. It was so pleasant. I like looked down and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm almost done. I think last time I had just turned the heel, right? And then I started the second one, because you should always, if you're doing socks one at a time, always cast on your next sock after you finish the first one, right? Like, just do it. Just start it. Just cast it on and do 2 rounds, and that's it. And it's fine, because now you've started and you'll finish. But yeah, so this little dude started. I finished the ribbing, and I'm just about to start the leg of the foot. But so this one might have a turned heel next week. We'll see. But yay, I'm actually going to finish these Sock Society socks this year. You know, if the prior 2 years, they had, Helen had released one sock every 2 months, and I totally would have stayed on track every 2 months, but every month I got a little behind. That's okay though, because after this one I just have 2 more to go. And I'll have 6 new socks for this winter, which is going to be exceptionally pleasant. And then I might I might have to start making, there you go, oh my goodness. I might have to start making socks for other people, because my sock drawer is actually getting sort of full. Or maybe I'll just let my kids take the ones that have gotten a little fuzzy, since I don't take particularly good care of my socks. Let's see. Oh, other Helen Stewart is the Stillness, Mr. Knit Along. And I did a pretty good job staying up with clue number 1, which I told you to look away 2 weeks ago. Clue number 3 is already out, and I'm halfway through clue number 2, so I figure it'll be almost clue number 4 released by the time this podcast comes out, or it might be clue 4 released. So I'm no longer worried about spoilers, because if you're as far behind as I am, then you've probably already seen spoilers. So, I mean, if you really want to look away, you can look away. But I'm not going to put a timestamp in, because I'm so far behind. But I'm doing Helen Stewart's Mr. Knit Along this summer, which is the Stillness shawl. And Helen Stewart's patterns are known for being like beautiful and lacy, but not too complicated, right? Like not crazy lace that you're gonna have to like super count. But yeah, and yeah, so this is it so far. Let me see, how's the best way to show this? Spread it out, hold it up. I don't know, it's hard to show a little bit. Let's see. So halfway through clue 2, and in this clue we've got this lace motif going on here, and then there's going to be some stockinette to end it out after I finish this lace repeat 3 times. And you can see I've got like 1.5 repeats, 1 3/4 repeats of the lace done so far, which I finished while we watched Hamilton on Disney Plus as a family. But also you can see as I mentioned before, I've changed this a little bit because I'm using a lace weight 100% silk yarn, which is definitely not what the pattern called for. I'm knitting on a size 3 needle. Yeah, 3.25 millimeters, which is also definitely not what the pattern called for. So, mine's gonna be a different size than everybody else's, but that's okay. Or I might add additional rows or something. But yeah, I've got to a color change. So I'm now into blue. But the reason I'm using this yarn is because I pulled a skein of Apple Tree Knits Gradient and her 100% silk lace base. What is it called? Yeah, silk lace. It's 100% mulberry silk, 1645 yards. This is a jumbo skein, which is like, what, 1.5 skeins? Yeah, it's like 1.5 skeins of yarn, all in a beautiful gradient. And I saw this, I was like, I can't. We do, like I said last time, we carry this in the store. Don't have this particular color right now, but I love it. I couldn't stop. And this is just, and then I had to find a pattern to go with it. And Helen Stewart released her Mystery Knit Along, and what's better than a Helen Stewart Mystery Knit Along with a rainbow gradient? It's going to be so cool when it's finished. I really want to, so my goal is to use the whole skein. And I'll just keep going with the pattern until I use the whole skein. So it might take me a while and look a little bit different than everybody else's looks, because I'm going to have to use more yarn to make it bigger. Or to use the whole thing. Yay! So that's Helen Stewart. That's my Helen Stewart opuses. Opie. And now my non-knitting thing that I've been working on, which I've probably mentioned months ago and never got around to. But what was I doing? It was a Saturday recently, and I was just like brain exhausted, and didn't want to knit. I wanted to do something like even more calm than knitting. So I picked up, which I'd gotten a long time ago, my embroidery sampler. Yay! So this is a little embroidery sampler book. We carry these in the store. We have lots of embroidery kits. I think you've seen Jen do a couple of them. And I can I'll put some pictures of, a couple selections of what we have. We've got 2 different kinds. We've got some from Brooklyn Haberdashery, that's these, and then we have some from a designer who does some like New York scenes, which I know you've seen Jen do, and some other like more text-based ones. They're really cute. They're all like so cute. But I've never embroidered before, so I figured a sampler was a good way, and it's great because they actually teach you like all the stitches to do. You have all the materials. It didn't come with a hoop, but I had a hoop because I have done counted cross stitch before. But the needle and all the things you need to put together this little cute sampler book, right? Leçon de point. Although I think it actually has this is all in French on the cover, but my version's in English, you can see. Yeah, it's a French company, but they translated it to English. So I finished on my Saturday that I wanted to do something super calm. I practiced my running stitch. So you can see that there. Yay! Different kinds of running stitch. Some of them are laced, right? Or whip stitched in there. Yeah, you practice different techniques, which was really interesting. Like I said, I've never done embroidery, so even the running stitch I had to sort of pay attention to and focus, because you've got to get the stitches the same length, right? For it to look nice and even. And it gives you the little dashes that you're like tracing, but you still have to pay attention. And then now I'm working on the herringbone stitch. So this is what I'm working on now. And these are really fast. Like literally it takes me 10 to 15 minutes to do, maybe even less. Do like one pass of these. It's something you can really pick up, work on for 20 minutes. You feel like you've accomplished something, and then put it down again. Maybe I won't feel like that when I get to French knots, but for right now, I can definitely just like learn how to do this, follow the instructions, and do the herringbone stitch for a row. This one is going to have some red whipped through it. I haven't done that part yet. But yeah, it's fun. And I think I'm learning definitely too. I think this first one, I stitched a little bit tightly, so it's very, very slightly pulling the fabric. So this second one, I just made sure to not go quite so tight and put a little bit of tension on the back of the fabric to make sure the stitches evened out. Hopefully that's what you're supposed to do. I sort of make it up as I go along. It's not going to be perfect. Maybe I'll ask Jen if she was here. She could give me good advice as I go on what I did well and what could use improvement, but that's not the world we're living in, so I'm doing the best I can. It probably would help if I found an embroidery podcast and learned a little bit from that. But, I don't know, the instructions are reasonably good. It doesn't give you like all the details. It isn't, but it gives you, you know, a little, this is how you do it. You start, you know, stitch number 1 goes here, then go, you know, like go up here and down there and up there and down here. And, so you're not totally lost in just following lines in a random order, which would be way challenging. No. But this is the amount of instruction that I need to learn the different embroidery stitches. So this has been fun. I mean, this is going to be a very slow working project for me. I'm going to pick it up when I want to. When I want to focus on something and for everybody to leave me alone and really not even watch TV or, you know, maybe sit there while the kids are watching something. But, yeah, it's been super pleasant. I like it. I'm really enjoying it. And then maybe I can do some of those cute embroidery projects once I learn all the stitches. Yay! I haven't gotten to satin stitch yet. Right? I think from what I've seen of those, that's a commonly used stitch that you really need to know to effectively complete some of those projects. I'll get there. But anyway, yay! That's my embroidery project. Yay! And then, last thing. I took a project out of hibernation. I had started this project in the spring, in March, maybe, right after our quarantine lockdown started, because Andrea Mowry announced her knit along, and I had a project in my head of what I wanted to knit of hers. So I started it, and then my brain got like overwhelmed, and I set it aside, and I was doing like other things, other sweaters, and the Rowan blanket, which I'm still working on. And so yeah, I just set it aside for a little bit. And my Demyakalopa, I was working on that. And it was just like, too much. But now my Demyakalopa is finished. I finished seaming the Rowan blanket from last year, but I need to weave it in. So I'm going to show that to you next week or next podcast. So I was like, hey, I can now pull out that sweater that I didn't have the mental bandwidth to take care of earlier. Yay! So that is my Andrea Mowry Nora Gone mashup, which I am super psyched about. Yes, I am. This is the top of it. See, I finished this much. I'm actually to the first, so this is going to be a Comfort Fade Cardie. I'm using the Comfort Fade, Andrea Mowry's Comfort Fade Cardie pattern. I'm using that. That's the basis for this pattern. Oh, in that case, I guess it's this way because Comfort Fade Cardie is a reverse stockinette pattern. So, yeah. So, this is the Comfort Fade Cardie pattern, right? Reverse stockinette. That's what the increases look like on the sleeves. It's a raglan sweater, but it has a big expanse of reverse stockinette on the back, which to me is just an excuse to overlay some cable thing, crazy, complicated cable thing on the back of it, because what else are you going to do with a plain cardigan back sweater? So that's where this fanciness comes in, right? That is the beginning of Nora Gone's Nightingale sweater pattern. And I'll show you what that looks like. This was the sweater that was on the cover of Pom Pom magazine a few falls ago, right? So this is Pom Pom Magazine, and this is the Nightingale Sweater by Nora Gone, right? This is from the the issue where she was the guest editor, and it's like all dark and moody and cables and all that jazz. It's so cool. But this is a spectacular cable. I mean, Nora Gone's the master of cables. This is a spectacular cable pattern. The sweater itself is not particularly my style. Here, I'll show you a picture of what it looks like if I can find it in the issue. Yeah, there's a good example. This is from the back, right? So you can see the full cable, but it has like some blousey sleeves with puffs here, and then tight on the bottom, right? And I just don't know that silhouette is me. It's very cool. It's almost like Victorianish. But that's not like my everyday style. But I am in love with this cable. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it on the back of the Comfort Fade Cardi. This sweater is knit bottom up. The Comfort Fade Cardi is knit top down. That means when I put this cable on my Comfort Fade Cardi, it's actually going to look like that on the back of my Comfort Fade Cardi, which I think is also super awesome. Yeah. It's almost like Tree of Life-ish, right? Super cool. I love it. So that's going on the back of my Comfort Fade Cardi. The way that Andrea Mowry's pattern works, so it's like two brilliant sweater ladies in a mashup on this sweater. The way that the Comfort Fade Cardi works is, right, you start with yarn 1, and then you stripe in consecutive colors of yarn that fade slowly from like one color to another. This is a combination that I saw at the National Needle Arts Association trade show a year ago in the Spun Right Round Squish DK. So there are 4 colors in this pattern of Spun Right Round Squish DK. The first is this one, right? This dark, and that's what I've started, and the reason I stopped on this was because now I'm ready to stripe, and I not only have to stripe and count rows, I have to increase for the raglans, and I have to do this cable pattern at the same time, and that's going to take some brain space that I did not have any more of in the middle of April. Maybe I do now. So this is the first color. This is the second color, right? So it fades super nicely into this color. I think this is Reaper's Rags, Quake. This is Heart Eyes, and my skeins are getting a little bit messy because they've been bouncing around in this bag for 3 months. This is Heart Eyes, and then we've got Pigeon. So this is the fade. I saw this fade in a Comfort Fade Cardi without a crazy back cable, and this fade is like one of the most spectacular fades I've seen. Like, it works so well together. I had to have this combo, so I have it, and I'm making a Comfort Fade Cardi with it, and I really love this yarn too. It is super squishy. This is one that the first time we got Spun Right Round Squish DK flew off the shelves. Could not keep it in stock. We got another shipment last spring, I want to say end of February, maybe right before quarantine. Kathleen made her made a yellow sweater, or mustardy gold, out of, well, goldy green, out of Squish DK, and I think we still have some sweater quantities. If you're planning sweaters for the fall and you'd like to use it, might be a good time to get that in your queue before everybody else remembers it's sweater weather too and snaps it all up, and we have trouble. It takes a while for us to get Spun Right Round in stock after we order it, so just something to think about. Let's see.
Hello. Yeah,
It's
Haley
Kathleen
and
and
Kathleen.
Haley back again with whips. So, I actually have an active whip. I really just have, I have one main active whip at this time, and it is the lace panel tank that I've showed you before. I finally...
It's much more inches,
Yeah.
many more.
It is, definitely. I went 14 inches before I divided for sleeves, and I do this thing where I kind of clip things. I just did this mainly to be able to show you, you know, the front and the back. So this pattern is written for flat, but I decided to do it in the round because less purling goes faster for me. I don't hate purling, but I don't like it as much as knitting. And so anyhow, I just, you know, converted the pattern, did it in the round, and I'm now onto the portion.
Oh, I forgot to change. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's right. All right.
It's
Well,
okay.
we can.
It's okay.
all
Keep
right.
going.
We can do. No, I lost my train of.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. So yeah, I'm on to the part where I'm basically just working flat, working back and
Like
forth.
you split for the sleeves, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I bound off. Just because of the way I did the math, I wound up doing one stitch less because of the way I don't have seams, so
You
I
didn't need to
decreased it, so I
count
didn't bind
the
off
backs.
extra stitches. So I've done, you know, three rounds on, or 3 rows on each side of decreases to do the main sleeve, bind off, and then I'm on to the part where you're just kind of grading in a little bit. And actually now I finished those decreases this morning, and now I'm on to just straight knitting until it's like, I don't know, 7.5 or 8 inches. I'm not even going to measure yet. What I will do though is feed in a piece of crochet cotton in the row where I started binding off, because that gives me a measuring point to go up from. I just feel like that's an easy way to do that. So I'm glad I really finally got back to this. I had started and made good progress in the beginning. I was cranking along, and then
counting got involved, and
well, I don't know. I really, my evening time was mainly focused on stuff around the new store, as well as, which is usually when I knit. So,
that's true.
but I've had a little bit of time lately, and just feeling like I need that knitting time, and I do want to be able to wear this year. So, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that I will be wearing
already
this in the
split
next
for the
episode.
sleeves, so-
Exactly, and not only split, but have done like probably 3 inches. So,
You're good to go.
yes, and I am going to modify the neckline. It is it's a pretty high jewel neck. This is in the current / possibly last issue of Knit Simple. We have a couple of copies left in the store. And I'm modifying it to be more of a scoop neck, because this is about as high a neck as I ever like, but I think I might even make it a little bit lower. So, and that also is why I'm doing the back first, because I'm kind of going to do, going to do the decreases and all of that. And boy, we've got some loud birds
I
out
know, I
here.
was just thinking the same thing. Hope you can hear us.
Hope you can hear us over the birds. So I will, basically have already done the front and back decreases, and setting off for the sleeves are the same. So I'll have done all of that once by the time I'm at the point of figuring out how I want to do the neckline. And really what I'm going to do is bind off the same number of stitches that they say above the lace, but I'm just going to do it a lot sooner, and I'll probably change the gradation of binding off a little bit to make it more of a scoop. So anyway, that is my one main whip. It's in cotton cashmere, and actually we just got another bag of this color. Literally
Yay!
Today it arrived at my house. So
You can make one yourself.
I know several people loved it. We've got people, I think 2 people wound up being able to get it. But we do have another bag if anybody else is looking for it now. So that is whip number 1 for me. You want to go into your whip number 1?
Yes. Which one did I say would be first? This one?
I don't remember.
I think I'm doing this one first.
It's there.
I had, like last week, I was like, I want to do amigurumi. I've done a lot of flat
yes.
things,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to do something not flat
Something
anymore.
dimensional.
So, I decided to make a bunny with Stargazer brushed from the store down at Juniper Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And also because I've been doing inventory, so every time I count a brand, I'm like, I want to make something in this. So finally one day I had enough. I was like, I'm taking this and I'm making something with it. So I started off with a pattern from a book that Chanel actually gave me, and the construction was different than I was, like, it's more squared off in the back. I don't know if you can tell, like most amigurumis, like,
very
pretty much
circular
all
base.
of them start with like a 6 ring, and then you increase 12, 18, whatever. But this one, like, instead of decreasing around the back, you just stop at a certain point and then made a square. But I sewed it on very, very off kilter, and then I was like, time out. So then I found another bunny pattern because I like the yarn for like a bunny, you know, it's really cute for a bunny. So I found another pattern which we will place right here because I don't know the name of it. I think it's just called like Cute Bunny or something, but it looks like a really nice finished object pattern that but we will place a picture somewhere in this vicinity. So this is the head, I believe. Pretty sure it's the head. So I made the head.
That'd be a nice, good sized bunny.
While I watched Moana because we got Disney Plus and Frozen 2. And then I started Monsters University.
Did you?
I did. As you can see, I am regressing to childhood, but it is okay.
It is okay.
So this is my amigurumi fix.
And this is also for the store. This is going to be a store sample
it's
for
gonna
this
be a store
yarn.
sample because we need more cute bunnies in the store.
Well, and a lot of our really early amigurumi. I mean, you just did some things just
The cats are really
for fun.
cute.
Yeah.
And then like the goldfish is kind of like stretched out and like elongated.
Well, I think didn't I make the goldfish?
Oh, sorry.
No, because I'm like a really loose crocheter,
Yeah,
like a
like-
really loose knitter. I should have gone down probably 2 more hook sizes, but c'est la vie.
It's still cute.
Still
it's
cute.
still there. It's
Uh-huh.
orange.
Yeah. So actually, one thing I forgot to say about my the lace panel shell that I'm making, it's by Rosemary Drysdale. And when I was looking through, you know, we always try to kind of know who all the patterns are by when
I'm sorry.
we
I
talk to
don't
you.
know who the bunny's by.
Well, like you said, we'll find it and we'll
We'll
send the info
place
to
it.
Amanda and she will put it here in beautiful text. But I realized when I was looking it up that this Nora blanket that I'm doing is also by her, which is
That's
so funny.
Really, like that's like a coincidence.
Yep. It's a coincidence in
There's
the
been
universe.
3 big coincidences recently.
Okay.
We don't need to go into that.
Okay.
That'll be a tangent.
Okay, that would be a real tangent. So this is my less active whip, but actually one thing I did want to show you about it is I made, this is, sorry, going backwards here.
You worked on it for like that was your like active one for like a couple weeks. So.
Oh, absolutely, maybe even a little bit longer. It's called the To The Point Blanket. It's in the Nora Blanket book, which I really like and highly recommend. And when I did the first 2 strips, you do these as strips. Sure, you do these as strips and then you join them, and well, they're gonna go like you do them lengthwise, basically, whatever. And it happened that where I ended my first strip and started my second strip, I had 2 squares that were exactly the same next to each other, which is really not what you want in a nice multicolored throw. So
Well, it just changes the vibe from like slightly like intentionally chaotic to slightly intentionally planned. Which,
well, and the other thing that's a good point. The other thing though is that because I'm not sure what the other skeins are going to look like, you might
You don't
have
want
A
all
and
of
B.
them.
Well, you might have A and B being identical, and then C and D and E and F all being different. So I just said, all right, before I join these things, I need to make sure that I'm starting one where it is not going to have the same exact colors. So that was what I did. I pulled this out, and basically it's kind of like that part, that really bright green that I love so much. So that's going to be the bottom of a panel that goes in between the 2 that look pretty identical.
this would actually be a nice scarf.
It
if
would.
you make like
Yeah.
a panel and
Yep,
like add a
make
couple
just
more,
a little bit longer.
like
Yeah.
a nice Nora mitered scarf.
So this is Nora
Ideas.
Subami. Absolutely, and I was thinking that as I was working on it.
Yeah,
You totally could
it's
do it
kinda
as a
cute.
scarf.
Make
That's
one.
what I think. More than one person asked me if I was making a scarf as they saw me working on it. So it's out of Nora Subami, which we have in the store, and actually,
Is Subame the one that has some silk in it?
yes, it's 50% silk. So this is the colorway that I'm using. I have the tag somewhere in here. I'll tell you which color number it is. I don't know. Anyway. But I took a picture of all the colors that we have, which I will give to Amanda to pop in as well, because I love this project. I mean, maybe once, and this is going to be a store sample. When we're in the store, it will be somewhere there.
It'll be featured.
And it's so nice. It is such a nice feeling And
Yeah, and you do see a tiny bit of shine too.
I feel like this project though in general is just like a great project that really does not require a lot of attention. It's, you know, you're really doing the same thing again and again. Once you get the flow, it's just, it's
But
great kind of background.
It's still interesting because Noro changes the color
Right,
itself, so you're not
exactly.
like doing
Yep.
one color over and over.
Yeah, and actually this one doesn't have, the other thing I do, because if you are either having a conversation with someone while you're working on this or watching television or anything like that, as simple as it is, you still can kind of cruise by your center point where you need to be doing your decreases. So I always do put a marker on, when I've decreased, I put the marker on that stitch, and then when I get to the decrease on the next row, I know it's the stitch before the one in the column where the marker is, where I need to start my decrease.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, one of those tiny little things that can really help keep you on track.
The same kind of thing you did with like not forgetting on the blanket.
Exactly,
where your
exactly.
stitch changes.
Yeah, that, and I really do think, especially for people that are like newer to knitting or crocheting, give yourself all the help you can. Like there's
no need to do it like as like naturalist as possible. Like the reason there's tools is to use them.
And really they can just make your life simpler. So I avail myself of all the tools, and that way I feel like my knitting time is more productive. I'm less likely to make mistakes because I set all of these things out as just little reminders. Oh yeah, don't forget you need to decrease. Oh yeah, don't forget you might need to knit or purl here. So it's a decision point, and it really makes a difference. And so, you know, we've all only got so many hours in the day that we can craft, and why not make as much as you can as possible during that time by making fewer mistakes, by helping yourself out.
There you go.
So that's it.
There's a tip for you.
So that
Not
is
a hack. A tip.
a tip. Definitely a tip, right, Jen? Absolutely a tip. All right.
So
and you
my
have
final, well, not my, oh, that is the same thing. I'm not showing the memorial name rectangle
that you're doing,
square
yeah.
things because I haven't worked on them actively since the last podcast, but they're on the noggin. So this we showed
Oh yes. How could I
last
forget?
time, and it was.
Do you have your copy of the magazine in
pre-lit.
there?
I do. So this is going to be the Coatlique tank. I don't know if it's like a tea or a tank, but it is in the pom pom. I have my.
Okay, great.
It's in the pom pom edition,
Spring,
most
summer.
recent, and it's by Sandra Gutierrez. Oh, that is the cover. It's not that one. It's this one. And it's funny because, like subconsciously, I was like, that looks kind of familiar, and like obviously I haven't seen that exact one before, but like the design, like vibe
Just
looked
the aesthetic,
familiar.
yeah.
And so then I was on Instagram scrolling through to see, just like, because I'm always like looking for new like inspiration, and Nomad Stitches, who I've followed for a while, and like I know her account and her designs and stuff, that's her. So if you follow Nomad Stitches on Instagram, that is also Sandra Gutierrez, who has a lot of other really cool, like I've wanted to make her, she makes a lot of mosaic, crochet, mosaic, tank tops and tees and stuff.
That's great.
So
yeah.
I didn't even
It's so
realize
pretty.
I was already making one of her patterns, and there you go. So,
Great.
but I have run into a problem because no matter how small I make the hook, it is not gauge. Like this was not gauge, and this is not gauge, and like it's.
But
kind of
I
annoying.
think you're pretty close on your stitch gauge now. It's just the row gauge, right?
I forget. It's one of
I'm
them.
pretty sure.
That's off.
I'm pretty sure. So
I put it in timeout because I was like, really?
So as I tell, you know, a lot of people when they come to the store, the most important thing, the thing you want to get right first or as close as you can is stitch gauge, because that has to do with the width of the garment. And you want to be able to follow the instructions as they're written and come out with the garment that's the size that you expect it to be.
Yeah.
But for row gauge, on something like this, and even without looking at the pattern, it probably says, you know, for your size, work for 10 inches or until blah, blah, blah. So, you know, you don't want the row gauge. Actually, somebody posted in the Montclair Knitting Circle the other day, her row gauge was almost twice what it was supposed to be. Which, like that, I'm like, there's something funky going on, because that is really unusual.
Yeah.
But you're not that far off. So as long as you're getting a fabric that you
I
like,
just can't get them small enough.
and
But yeah,
you're-
so
and you're
like the
close on the row
difference is
gauge.
like
And this
the row gauge you can just omit some length
Well,
because
it often, and like with a raglan sleeve,
not every
yeah,
day,
with a
but,
raglan sleeve or something like
for-
that with decreases, if you happen to have a size where basically there are no extra rows that you knit, every row is an increase row or a decrease row if you're working from the bottom up, then your row gauge is a little bit more important, and you might have to, you know, do a little futzing with the pattern to get it to work. But something like this, I'm sure you're going to be fine as
Yeah.
long as you're good on the stitch gauge. And also you want to have a fabric that you're happy with. You don't want it,
Yeah.
sometimes when you have to keep going down, the fabric starts getting stiff, and you don't want it to be stiff.
no,
You
but
want it to be
the
nice
cotton
for a
is
garment.
really, really nice. This, oh, by the way, this is in Juniper Moon Zoe.
Yes.
I'm starting, the base color is going to be the
Toasted
white,
coconut.
which is toasted coconut, and the accent color from the mosaic, like what the dark blue and the cotton, is going to be
Aquamarine.
this aquamarine color.
So
38.
pretty. I love that as a summer palette. It's so
Yeah.
pretty.
So that's what I'm doing. So like the cotton's gonna be really nice when it's like, I'm very excited
And it's
for it to
a
be
cotton
like,
and linen blend. Yeah, it's gonna be nice and
okay,
soft. Yeah.
So I'm very excited for it. And it's a new stitch which I haven't done before. It's, I forget what it's called, but it's right there.
I forget too. Yeah. Ah, sorry.
It's the griddle stitch,
Griddle
which
stitch.
is
That's right. Yeah.
every other single crochet, double crochet. So like
Mm-hmm.
you kind of like, it's almost like linen stitch, but instead of chains and singles, it's doubles and singles, like every other. And it makes like an interesting, like it almost
It's a
looks
really
like,
nice texture.
it almost looks waffly, which
Yeah.
is like, you would think it would kind of like even out, but the doubles do kind of like bubble a tiny bit, but I like it. So
Yeah,
I'm very
very nice.
excited for it to be a summer top. It's very
Yes.
soft.
Yes.
So maybe I'll work on that because
Yeah,
I'll
I
just
think
take
it's
this
time
last
to just
gauged one and
yeah,
see how it's going.
time to move on to the pattern, and yeah, I'll check it out with you later, and we'll either later or tomorrow, and we'll make sure you're getting something that's going to work, and then yes, time to move on to the pattern.
Yeah, and also just as explanation, like in like how for knitted swatches, what kind of
I do a garter row,
okay,
like
yeah,
a,
that's
a
so
row.
like
Yeah.
we suggest, like I like just doing gauge all in one, so you can really compare them, and it saves time from like you don't have to like do a
You're not starting
foundation
over
stitch
again.
every
Yeah.
but
Same with
instead of
knitting.
doing like, you can't really do the same thing as like making an easy garter bump row to separate them, but I just
So what do
did
you
a
do?
double crochet row, so
That
you
makes
can
sense.
have
So
bigger
it's easy to
holes
see. It's easier to see
the
that you've moved
differences
on to the
between
next
the
hook.
two. So
Yeah.
yeah, this one was honestly this might. Oh, I started with the whatever they suggested. I think 3.5 millimeter hook, and then I went to a 3.25, and this is a 3 millimeter. So we're gonna go with the 3 millimeter. I'll keep you updated.
Sounds good. All right. So. Hey, it's Kathleen. It's still Thursday, same day I recorded with Haley, but I'm here outside of Yarnia. I'm going to give you a little mini tour of our in-progress work. Here we go. So here's the front door. We actually don't have a number over. I guess we're going to need to do a number. But we are going to be at 127 Watchung Avenue. So let me take you inside. So you've seen some of this in some still photos, but we've got, everything's been painted. Jeff's built a bunch of the new shelving that we're gonna have. Started moving some stuff from the current store over. I'm just gonna give this a quick lock so nobody walks in on us. We are right across the street from the post office, which is really kind of cool. Definitely should make it easier to get our packages picked up. And yeah, we've got the layout for where all of the shelving from the current store is gonna go. We are working on, still got a lot of stuff underway. That's one of the new cabinets. Got a really pretty brick wall back there that you're gonna be able to see when everything's in its final place. We have basement storage, yay. Yeah, so right now everything's definitely very in progress, but in 11 days, we are gonna be here and expect to be open. Jean and I were here tonight working on some closed shelving in this little closet. And the Yarnia orange wall, of course. So that is it for the sneak peek. Next time you see this, it should be much more together. All right,
Good night, everyone.
So I think that's it from us this time, right? Is there anything else we needed to say?
I don't have any more bags. So
Me neither. And you need to go make a birthday cake.
oh yes, happy birthday, Will.
So, all right. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching. We love hearing your comments. We
yes.
look forward to seeing people in the new store.
Yes.
We're going to be letting people in a limited way, to continue keeping everyone safe.
We'll have all of our guidelines posted so you can see,
Yep.
read them before you come in. Yeah.
And we know our community is lovely, and people will be kind to each other, and we'll.
Considerate to
I'm not
everyone.
worried. I'm not worried. We'll.
We're just really excited to have people in the new store.
Yes.
A, in the store again in person, and B, in the new store. So,
Yes.
very
Both.
exciting.
Absolutely. All right. So.
Like,
Thanks
comment,
so much.
subscribe.
Yep.
Hit
And
the ring bell.
and I will do a little. Well, who knows? You may have seen that by now. I'll do a little snippet. I'll do a little bit
we'll
tonight
do
when I
some
go.
sneak peek.
Sneak peek
New
action.
store. So
Yeah. All right.
stay tuned.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to visit us online at shopyarnia.com. And then when the store opens, you can come see us in person and see the new space at 127 Watchung Avenue. And yeah, so what am I missing? Oh my gosh. Like and subscribe down below. And follow us on Instagram at Shop Yarnia, on Facebook at Yarnia LLC, and Ravelry as Shop Yarnia. So until next time, guys, thanks so much. Bye.